Let's get right to our top story. There were fireworks in Las Vegas last night. 6 candidates for president took the stage for the 9th Democratic debate. The spotlight was on former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg making his debate debut. His fellow candidates didn't waste any time attacking the newcomer. Yahoo Finance's Jessica Smith is in Washington with all the details. And of course, Jess, we're calling him a newcomer, but he's been in the race, he's experienced, but this is the first time they were all on the same stage.
Yeah, the first time for Bloomberg on the debate stage, and people went after him from the get-go. But one clash really stood out, and that was with Senator Elizabeth Warren. She pushed back on his defense of confidentiality agreements, mistreatment of women in his business, and his past comments about women. It was really a jaw-dropping moment in the debate. Let's watch a piece of it.
And I hope you heard what his defense was. I've been nice to some women.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is that?
Let me finish.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told. And let me point, there's agreements between two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them.
We are not going to beat Donald Trump with a man who has who knows how many non-disclosure agreements and the drip, drip, drip of stories of women saying they have been harassed and discriminated against.
The first hour of the debate where that exchange took place was the Warren campaign's best hour of fundraising to date. Now, as you kind of saw in that clip, it seemed like Bloomberg was really struggling to defend himself against some of these attacks. His campaign put out a statement after the debate saying that it took him about 45 minutes to get his sea legs on the debate and saying that he is just warming up. He faced a lot of criticism on a range of issues, on everything from his stance on stop and frisk to his wealth. He was pressed about releasing his tax returns, and he said that he couldn't do that yet. He makes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. He can't just go to TurboTax. So clearly that statement kind of rubbed a lot of people on the stage and in the audience the wrong way. Adam and Akiko.
Jess, thank you. We're going to keep this one going. Paul, let me ask you a question. Forget the showmanship of these debates, because as we talked about earlier, who's talking policy? People said in 2016, Donald Trump will never get the Republican nomination. His base, though, they overlooked his base. They say that, or they were saying that not too long ago about Bernie Sanders, and yet his base seems to be the only energized, I'm ready to do whatever it takes for the Democrats. So is Bernie Sanders ascendant?
So I said this 6-8 months ago, sitting right here. I said, don't underestimate. It's not a political comment. Don't underestimate Sanders, because the Democrats of 2019 look just like the Republicans did in 2015. A zillion candidates, everyone laughing at Trump. They laughed at him all the way to the nomination. The Democrats don't want Sanders. The Republicans didn't want Trump. I mean, they're marching to the exact same tune with super energized bases on a clash of the titans in debates.
Exactly right, that Sanders did not come out of nowhere. Let's remember the same thing happened in 2016. There were quite a lot of people that wanted Sanders, and there were reports that the DNC just couldn't figure it out, couldn't make a decision. Some people, were afraid of rallying behind Sanders. They were pushing Clinton. I mean, the same people who are so energetic about Sanders right now, I think many of them were there in 2016. So in many ways, it is looking like 2016, too, in terms of how late it's going before the Democratic Party really rallies around one candidate. Look, I think with Bloomberg coming in and having so much money to spend, you also can't count him out, even after last night. I know it's hard to say that after last night, which was a train wreck for Bloomberg, but in many ways, I think that already in the last few weeks, his surge has proven that money will get you very, very far.
Well, let's talk about that surge, though, because I do wonder now. We saw him on the debate stage yesterday. He had this surge with all the ad buys. He didn't have any public sort of debate performance. Now people have heard from him. Does that matter with all the money he's still spending? Is that what's going to outweigh?
It just doesn't matter.
Right.
In this case, I think the projections were he was going to outspend everybody else by a factor of 10. So if he was a damaged candidate, last night was it, put a fork in him. Last night will be forgotten in tomorrow's news cycle. Worst case, next week. You can't underestimate what America and the voters are telling us. Look, you've got Bloomberg, Sanders, Trump. None are career politicians. Really, Sanders is not a Democrat. He's a Democrat socialist. Trump was
a career politician.
But he's really, in the truest sense of the word, he's not like your average Democrat. Trump was a Democrat, is now a Republican. Bloomberg was a Republican, is now a Democrat. The country is telling you they do not want mainstream Democrats or Republicans running our country anymore. That's the takeaway for all this.
Yeah, and $60 billion. That's what Bloomberg is bringing to the table. I mean, there's been so many tweets showing that many people are not necessarily paying attention below the surface. They're just seeing Bloomberg advertisements. The awareness is up, and I think that's a huge part of it.
Hey, investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.